Okay, so I did this already, but apparently I wasn't recording audio, so we're going to try this again. Get all this straightened out. Classic. My window kind of got messed up. Okay. So, alright. So anyways, let's just drop down a sphere. And move this up. And bridge. Let me make sure audio is recording. Yeah, it looks like it. Okay. Okay, so I want to retopologize this. I want to make just super quick UVs. So I'm going to just not auto, but auto scenes. Just doing this real quick. I'm going to go to let me collapse these so you can just see me open them, unfold, and unfold. Layout, and layout. So there we've got quick UVs without a whole lot of work. Okay, so from here, I'm going to also make sure I'm referencing some notes that I took on this process. So from here, we want to set up our workspace. Yes. And then we want to generate an interactive groom. We could go in here and set some things specifically, but I'm just going to generate that really quickly. So now here we are. If I come up to, where is it? I don't see Xgen. There we go. We have our brushes. So I could click on like one of the brushes. However, if I shift and right click, I can get to a bunch of these this way. But I can also select some things up here. So first off, I want to go to, let's look at the density brush. So if we come here, now here's the thing. If I go here, I need to click the density brush to activate it. Let me see. Density brush. Yeah. Density brush, there's a way there. You have to click it. Apparently I didn't click it right or something, but you have to click it on the density brush to get your tool settings. And then once you have that, you can have it to increase density as you paint. So if it's on increase, I can go paint in more density, or I could have it set to decrease, paint away density. But a second ago you saw like there was ways to also do masking and things like that. And so this is kind of the oh, there you go. This is the base. We kind of paint some of that base stuff, and then this is kind of like the big parent of everything. So from here, things like that you can do in here is you can set some of this taper, this width ramp. I'll click this arrow so we can see it better. It's nice because I can have that taper off at the end, add some thickness, so it's not just annoying at the bottom. Maybe we'll do something kind of like that. Okay, so there's that. We can also increase the overall width. There's stuff in here that we can play with. We can increase the density. Density won't, so on the base, so if I like set that to 2, I can increase the density. I'm going to keep it kind of lower just so we can make things go faster, but just know that you can do that. One thing I like to do, so you have this sculpt. So with the sculpt, right, we can get our, so shift middle mouse, we can come in here and sculpt, and it's not letting me do that. Why is it not letting me do that? Oh, it's not on. Got to turn that on. Something's going on with it, so let's just delete this. Add a modifier, so I just right click on this, add modifier, and let's go to sculpt. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so whatever that was, whatever happened got broken or something, but here we can sculpt. Now, one thing I like to do, because you could do it like this, the other important thing to know, so on your brush tool, if we look at that, there is a way to turn on, so shift right click, we go to comb, and the options, make sure you have collide with mesh on, or you could actually comb that and have it like interpenetrate the object, and we don't want that. So one thing that I like to do, like when I'm doing this, is I like to add, and we have a lot of brushes, right? So we could do, like there's a part in here, for example, so you could, if you wanted to create a part like down the center of somebody's head or something like that, you could work that, but I'm not going to mess with that too much right now. But one thing I like to do is right click, add a modifier, and go to add clump, and I kind of like to brush the clumps. Here's something you can do with the clump. So if you click the clump, go to the attribute, we can come to, there's clump points. Yeah. So we can come to the clump points, the density, and we can make that like 10 clumps. Or we can make that like 20 clumps. And it's kind of cool to be able to brush the clumps. So I kind of like brushing the clumps. You also have your, your move tool. So you have some of this as well. You could do some stuff. Back to our brush. Another thing that can, and I don't want to get too much into designing, I just kind of want to open the door and be like, go look at this, that kind of stuff. Another thing that can kind of be cool with this, again, you can cut hair, you can twist, you can add noise, you can do all sorts of stuff, but I do like to add noise to kind of chunk this up a little bit. And then you can come in here and play with like the frequency of it, all sorts of fun stuff. Okay, so that's a little bit about, oops, from here, let's go back to brush so that we're not brushing through it. But here I think you can see, like, with these modifiers on, we can brush with that, and so it looks not just where things are just so smooth, right? You can brush with some dynamic kind of looks and stuff like that to it. Okay, so the next thing I want to look at is adding some animation. So the way we're going to do that, we're going to click on this, right click, we're going to go to add modifier, and we're going to go to linear wire. Okay, I'm going to click on the linear wire, and then I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to create an input wire. Okay, so what that has done is it's created splines that match our hair. So however we've brushed out, right, you can see like at the bottom I have this kind of flared out where you can see those splines are kind of following that. We can actually increase the density of that by coming to this in-base guide. And so we can put like the density multiplier to 2. So it's going to create, as I up that, you'll see like more and more splines. Well, that's what we're going to simulate here in a second. And that's going to drive the hair. So I'm going to kind of keep it a little bit lower, but you could turn that up if you want to. And so these are essentially the groom splines. And that's going to help control the hair. Okay. What we have to do though is we have to come back to linear wire and update that change so that the hairs know what splines to follow and that sort of stuff. Okay. From here, I'm going to go ahead and click make wires dynamic. That all looks good. And yeah, okay, so now we need to get into some of the actual dynamic in hair systems and things like that. So first things are first. So I'm going to click on the outliner. I'm going to go to this P-sphere. I'm going to change this to FX. I'm going to go to in cloth, and I want to create a passive collider. So as these splines start moving around, I don't want them to go through like the head or the character or whatever. Now I want to, right now these are going to go crazy, and so I want to start controlling some of that. So one thing I'm going to do, let's come back here. So we can control the actual in hair, but we can also control the splines a little bit. So with the splines, I'm going to come to the linear wire, and if I come in here, zoom up, I can kind of tell this like how much I want it to follow like the in here. So if I put this to 0 on this magnitude, the root's not going to move. Okay, and if I put this all the way up, now the tip is going to move like a lot. So maybe you could do something like that, and then have it kind of hold its body fairly well, like in this area. And then as it kind of gets out to the sides, you know, do something like that. But this is design. You can play with that. The next thing I want to do is let's go back to the outliner and let's actually mess with the in-hair system. So in the in-hair system, we want to go to under dynamic properties. There's this option called no stretch, because as this simulates, like these splines would get like long and things as pressure builds up, and we don't want that to happen. We don't want the hair to grow with simulation. So no stretch. The next thing we want to do is we want to add some bend resistance and some twist resistance. So compression and bend. So compression, let's turn that up a little bit. We can, again, this is all design. We play with all this. And this is just how stiff these are going to be. We can also come down here under forces, open up forces, and we can add a bit more drag if we want to. We can add some dampness if we want to, and so forth. Okay, so that's a little bit about the Xgen system. So now if we play this, we'll see, you can see we're getting some dynamic activity. So I'm going to go back. The other thing we can do, I'm going to select those. I'm going to hide them real quick. I'm going to click this guy. So I'm just going to add some animation on this just to show how this works. So I'm not going to rig it or anything like that, but you could. I'm just going to do a nonlinear deformer and a bend. And change this back to my classic for a second. And so I want to, I want to mess with this. So I'm going to right click on that, set key, come out to like 45, right click and set key. Out here, we'll just click S, and then on frame 1, let's rotate that and click S. Okay, let's go back to our interactive groom. Click H to turn those back on. And let's click play. Let's see how this is looking. So here we can see we've got some dynamics, and you can stiffen these hairs up more and more. Like if you wanted to hold even better, you can definitely do that. But you can see we've done that a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to stop that and rewind. Okay, go forward one frame and now rewind again. Sometimes when you just rewind from all the way back here, it doesn't look right. So I'll step forward one frame and then rewind again, and it seems like it's working a little bit better. Okay, so the next thing is like how to get this over like to another computer. So the important thing is to set a project. So I'm going to set this project, and there's the one that I was doing when I was testing originally. Here's the one that I made the video a second ago on, and so I'll make that third one. Xgen Quick 3. Set that, and then I'm going to set that. Create a workspace. We'll file save scene as call it Xgen Quick 1 and continue. Let me see, because I was having an issue with this a second ago. Yeah, wait, that's right. Yeah, it's not making the workspace right away, which is really weird. It should be giving these folder structures. Okay, let's do this. Let's come here. So The first time around, I had some problems exporting this over to another computer, so I'll show a hack for that. The second time, everything just worked, so we'll just see how it goes. So what I'm going to do is I want to select this guy right here. Okay, I'm going to go to descriptions, and I want to export this. So I'm going to export this description, and I'm going to go save scene, continue, and save that into there, and export, and continue. So let's just see if I'll save scene as. Okay, we might, oh, I know what, we didn't have a project. We made a project, now we need to set the project again to make the folders. I gotcha. Set. Now, we should have folders. Nope, no folders. File, project window, accept. Now we have folders. Yes. Okay. I knew it would make its folders, so description, presets, let's export that again. We'll call this one animation since it seemed like it worked. Actually, let's not do that. I want to see how it works on the other computer. So, or actually, let's just overwrite that. And export. Yes. And continue. Okay. Because I think you need the project folders there before you export it, and then things will work better, I believe. I think that's why things worked a little bit better last system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this, and I'm going to pick it up on the other computer. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to import this over here. So right there. Now I'm just going to go and do set project to there. Okay. Now I'm going to do open scene, and I'll come up, and I will do that. I will open that, and there we go. So if I click play, you can see that everything is just working, and it's largely due to the fact that I had the project set. So I set the project, and it's just working because the project was already set. So all the data that it's looking for is in that project in certain locations within that project, and it's finding what it needs. So you can see that that is working. If for some reason that didn't work, let me see. I did save out that project, right? Let me double check something real quick on my other computer. Sorry for the delay. So I'm looking at Xgen 3. I have the interactive groom. Do I have that in there? Xgen 3. Yes, I do have the interactive groom. So if for some reason something happened and that didn't import, one thing you could do, I'm just going to put all that in a group. I'm going to duplicate that sphere. I'm going to do Shift P to unparent that sphere, and then I can delete or hide this. So probably be best to delete, but I'm going to hide it for now. I'm going to select this. I'm going to go to Xgen, and I'm going to go to the descriptions, and I'm going to preset, and I'm going to import, and I'm going to navigate to where that is, and I'm going to open that. Now here's the trick. Here is this says the rotate align to new surface normals. We don't want that. We want to use the orientations, the original orientations, that is. And so I'm going to import, and there you go. You can see that that's all just coming and is working. Now the thing is though, this duplicate sphere doesn't have any of the animations on there, so you would need to make sure that all that's been copied over and that sort of stuff. So it might even be best to just delete everything and just use that original sphere or something like that. But at any rate, you can see that all that stuff is in there. It's just that that sphere doesn't have its animation on it. So, but that's a way, if the other way didn't work, that you could kind of rework some of that. Now, having said that, like, everything did just work, so we don't even need to worry about that. We have this, and so it worked. And again, largely because we have the project spaces set, and yeah, so that should just work. But there's like another little hack slash workaround to get things working if something went horribly wrong or something like that. You could kind of work that up with the other method. So anyways, hope this has been helpful.